let's get one thing cleared up first. The difference between drumming and percussion, because in essence, I'm a drummer. I studied to be a drummer. I love drumming. It is my passion. It's what I've been doing for practically 20 years of my life. Whereas percussion is, and I don't want to say it's a lesser art form than drumming, because it isn't, and I would definitely be crucified for saying this. Percussion is more along the lines of bongos, shakers, marimbas, those kinds of instruments versus a full drum kit. Now, King's Club in and of itself doesn't really have use of a drummer, especially because of what we do. You know, the whole point of King's Club is having this mobile mariachi style band. So that's why I'm the percussionist of King's Club. But just to answer the question of how I got started, it's a long story. It's a pretty simple one. I was probably 12 or 13, making my way to high school. Funnily enough, I went to a high school open day. And one of the things that this high school did in order to entice students to come there or to enroll in it was by having two of these students play a guitar and drum duet on stage. Even though they didn't offer any of this as a class, it was just a cheap shot to get students to come. And lo and behold, it actually worked on me. I instantly realized that drumming was the thing for me. And if not for the actual music and cool factor, at least it would maybe get me a girlfriend. I mean, I know that sounds lame, but I mean, drummers can't really find a cooler member of a band. So from there, it was just a straight journey. I never gave up the idea of wanting to be a drummer. I convinced my parents against all odds to let me study music because I said to them, I've got a plan. I know how to make this work, and I guarantee you I'll do it. So they let me study music, and the rest is sort of history. As for how I ended up in King's Club, it's a little bit of a networking and a friendship thing and a connection thing, as with most creative industries, I would assume. A lot of the people who are in King's Club either studied with me, or we played shows within the Joburg circuit or the Cape Town circuit, because we've been all over the scene. And it was just a little Lego building that is essentially assembled itself. They started from the ground up, and one person recommended the next person, recommended the next person, recommended the next person. And so I got dragged into the chaos of this creative machine. My musical style. This is always quite a difficult one to answer. I love saying that I'm the kind of person who listens to all music and appreciates all styles of music. And even though this is true, before I contradict myself, let me just make it clear that yes, I do listen to everything, but I definitely, since my childhood, have had a incredibly strong influence from the punk rock scene, the rock and roll scene, the sort of the pop rock scene, whatever you want to call it. Rock was appended to it, and it's really been an immense influence in my entire life. Now, the funny thing is, you as a session musician or as a freelance musician, you need to be quite versatile with what you do. And me saying that rock and roll was my main influence sounds very limiting. But what I've managed to do is take rock and roll, make it my style of drumming, and no matter where people needed me, I could always find a way to mold and shape that specific rock approach to whatever style of music we needed to do. And in doing so, I created a very unique sound and style for myself, where people know I'm not the jazz drummer or the rock drummer or the pop drummer. It's Louis, and Louis sounds like Louis. And that's always just been my approach to all of this. But yes, in a nutshell, rock and roll, punk rock, pop rock is my bread and butter. So let's start with the drama. Okay, I joke. Within the band, there's no drama. That's not to say that this isn't the case with other bands. I feel we are extremely lucky. I've been in many, many, many bands where there's always, you've got the kind of the peacekeepers, you've got the egos, and you need them. But luckily for us within King's Club, we've got an extremely level-headed team playing sort of mentality, which blows my mind a little bit. And we actually talk about it quite often about how it feels like we were meant to be a band. And it's really strange. We don't really butt heads, but it's impossible to be a creative, write the type of songs we do, come up with all these wild performances, and not have a disagreement every now and then. The beauty about King's Club is because we're all extremely experienced musicians. I say that without tooting my own horn. I just mean we've been around the block. We've all experienced the good and the bad. Because we're all so experienced, we know exactly that the reason we are in this band is because it's a group project and it cannot be done on its own. Everyone understands that fully and everyone works with that. So if there's ever something that someone says and someone else doesn't agree with it, we hash it out, we talk about it, and we move on. It's honestly not a big deal for us, and I count us extremely lucky in that case. I mean, if you're looking for drama, you're going to look between your managers and your artists, because when you're looking at managers, you're thinking business and money. And when you're looking at artists, you're thinking creativity. Yes, of course, money, because we all want to survive. But there's a vast difference in mindsets and approaching it. So that's about the only drama that we have. Not that there really is any. The Rolling Stones. Because honestly, when you're looking at Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, all Watts and all of those guys, you can't really ask for a better entertainer than Mick Jagger. I mean, he is synonymous. He is the archetype of the performing, the entertaining musician. And I sort of shudder to think what the outcome would be if we took King's Club, not that we're anywhere on the level of them, but King's Club with our performance, and then we slap Mick Jagger and the rest of those guys in there, and we just have this massive, massive entertainment bomb being thrown in your face. Honestly, I think that would be the best collaboration you could ever have.